What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today I have another NU match. This one's against Galvy, and this turned out to be an insanely good match here. So looking at my opponent's team, I notice he's running Incineroar. Yet again, if you saw the last battle, that thing does scare my team quite a bit. Also, I am worried about the Hitmonlee because those things can do a number of different things. Other than that, he's also running a Delmice and a Seismitoad of his own, so that makes our wall cores pretty damn interesting. And let's go ahead and just jump right into the battle here. Alright, so I'm expecting him to lead off with his Seismitoad, so I end up tossing out my Vileplume here as he actually ends up leading off with his Incineroar, which was like the absolute last thing that I thought he was going to possibly lead off with, because I figured he would maybe think I was leading off with a Seismitoad of my own, which case it would have been a bad idea to lead off with Incineroar, but he actually gets it correct because now it scares out my Vileplume, and I'm forced to bring in my Seismitoad here, as now he's able to get a free pivot, and now he can bring anything he wants into my Seismitoad. So, not the best start here, as he definitely has the upper hand, as he's able to then bring in his Delmice. And I really would rather not take a Power Whip and end up losing my Seismitoad, which is my best check to that Incineroar. So, I decide to switch right back into Vileplume. And your boy's out here just switching back and forth. But he ends up going for the Anchor Shot, hits me with some BDSM. Is going to tie me up there so I can't escape, which does kind of suck. But my best option here is to just go for some Sludge Bombs, because I figure it should do around half. But he's just going to end up going for another Anchor Shot there. And this does allow me to toss some Sludge at it. It actually leaves it above half, but I end up getting the Poison, which is pretty sweet. And after that Black Sludge, I'm living it at 69 HP, which is nice. So I'm just going to end up going for another Sludge Bomb here, as he actually ends up going for the Synthesis. I was unable to switch due to the Anchor Shot, so I didn't really have any other play other than just staying in here, clicking Sludge Bomb yet again, and that's going to leave him at about the same health here. So he notices that after the recovery, he's not going to be able to knock me out with another Anchor Shot, so he is going to go ahead and switch out here, as I decide to go for the Strength Sap, I believe, and he's going to bring in the Garbodor. So Danny DeVito comes in, I go for the Strength Sap, which does heal you to the number of the attack stat of the opponent, so it does lower his attack as well. I get that health back, and I'm sitting back at full, so Nuptup is looking pretty solid. I can finally switch out here, and I'm feeling pretty solid. So he actually ends up double switching. He's going to bring in his Incineroar here. Does intimidate me, as I end up switching as well, and I bring in my Xatu. So this isn't the best matchup for Xatu. I don't really have much that I can do against this damn Incineroar, so I got to switch out yet again. And we got some pretty quality mind games going on here, as it's pretty obvious that I'm going to end up bringing in my Seismitoad. He does predict that, and he's going to go for the knockoff to get rid of my leftovers. So I just end up going for the Stealth Rock. I figure this is a pretty good opportunity for me to get those up. Gonna be a lot of switching, and that's gonna be pretty damn useful. So he goes ahead and U-turns now, because obviously Incineroar does not have any business against the Seismitoad, and he's gonna bring back in the Crust Bucket, which is the Delmice yet again. So considering I just set up Stealth Rock, this thing does have a good matchup against Seismitoad, but I'm thinking he's probably gonna want to go for the Rapid Spin here. So expecting that, I'm going to go ahead and switch into my own Delmice, which is going to go ahead and spin block his. So I bring in my Ron Burgundy, as he does go for that Rapid Spin, and it does not affect me, so he's unable to get rid of those Stealth Rock because of the fact that I'm Ghost type, and that is perfect. So now I can just go ahead and click Knockoff on whatever. It turns out he's going to switch into the Hitmonlee here. So he gets hurt by a little bit of Stealth Rock, and then a Choice Banded Knockoff actually does a buttload of damage to this thing, even though it's resisted, and I'm able to get rid of its Choice Scarf. So now I know what kind of Hitmonlee this thing was built to be, and I'm looking pretty good here, as now I can just go into my Vileplume, who is a great check to this thing, as he actually goes for a knockoff of his own. Karate kicks me right in the chin, which does just piss off Vileplume, and to my surprise, he actually ends up staying in there and just goes for a Stone Edge rather than switching out. Either way, I just go ahead and throw the Moon at this thing's face, and that is going to be a dead Hitmonlee, so that's a big sweeper out of the way, and I avoided that situation pretty nicely. So now he's going to bring in the Miss Maggie on the free switch, and I'm really mostly worried about this thing going for a Substitute and Nasty Plot, so I actually end up staying in and going for a Moonblast here, as he actually ends up showing me he is going to be carrying a Z Crystal, and it turns out to be Continental Crush, which that was definitely not something I was expecting, but he's going to go ahead and toss a big-ass boulder on my head. Pioneers used to ride these babies for miles, but they didn't kill too many Vileplumes with them, so I am able to live that with 4 HP, which is amazing. And now I can just fire off another Moon at this thing's face, which I actually do end up getting the special attack drop, which is super nice. But he actually decides to go ahead and Nasty Plot here. He's going to get that special attack right back up. as I just continue to Moonblast. I kind of just stay in here because I do have an answer to this thing, and that is going to be my Heliolisk, considering I'm faster, and as long as this Miss Maggie is below half health, I should be pretty solid there. So I just sack off my Vileplume, dies to a Shadow Ball, but you did good, buddy, and I'm proud of you. So this leaves room for my Sunburnt Lizard to come in. I can just go ahead and click Thunderbolt at this point, as he is actually going to end up switching out. He saves the Mismagius, and he is going to bring in the Anchor pretty much just to die to Stealth Rock. So that Stealth Rock is doing its thing, and down goes the Delmice, so that's pretty nice. Thunderbolt the air there, which obviously nothing happens, and now he is able to get a free switch in here. He decides to go into the Incineroar, so he gets hurt by a little bit of Stealth Rock there, is going to intimidate me, obviously does not matter, but I don't really want to attack this thing because I don't want to risk getting Drain Punched in return, so I decided to just switch into my Seismitoad, who is pretty hurt at this point. But he actually makes a nice play and just goes for the U-turn there. So he's able to pivot and bring in a better matchup here. And he decides to go into the Seismitoad of his own. So just a couple of warty boys out here just having a nice little party. I decide it's probably best for me to just go ahead and try to get a Toxic on this thing. He actually goes for a Hidden Power there, and it turns out that it was Hidden Power Electric. So he was expecting me to switch into one of my birds, and that would have definitely caught me pretty off guard. But he told me after the match he was really hoping to be able to showcase that Hidden Power Electric Seismitoad, which is a pretty cool idea, but it does not affect, you know, my own Seismitoad. So I get the poison off on it, and at this point I'm just kind of staying in here and trying to whittle this thing down as much as possible just to make it easier to take care of later, as he gets a poison off on me as well. And I'm pretty much just staying in here and clicking Earth Power until I kind of go down, because I don't really want to make any risky switches. I kind of just want to wait till I can have a revenge switch in. So having 5 Pokemon left, I do have the upper hand here. He sets up the Stealth Rock there, which really isn't too big of a deal. It is going to hurt me a little bit, but I should be able to work around that as I just go for another Earth Power, and I'm actually able to do a lot of damage to this thing. It's really easy to take care of now, and now I'm just thankful that this Seismitoad has a little bit of speed investment, because that way I'm actually able to outspeed this thing every time, so there's no speed ties. And that means that one more Earth Power is going to take this thing out, and my Seismitoad was able to come out on top there. And that is going to be a dead Froggy. So I actually end up going down to my own poison, which is fine. We actually both died at the same time there, which is kind of funny. But now we've both got free switches. He decides to go into the Garbodor as I bring in my Xatu. I was thinking I probably would be able to scare this thing out with a Psychic. So I actually end up going for the U-turn here, but he stays in, to my surprise. And I figure I'm going to end up going into my Delmice with some HP investment. This thing, as long as it's not fully maxed out in attack, I should be able to take a Gunk Shot from it and then hit it hard with an Earthquake with the Choice Band in return. He actually ends up missing the Gunk Shot, so I don't really have to worry about that at all. And you know, that's pretty perfect. So now I can just go for the Earthquake here, as he's going to end up switching, although unfortunately he does still have the damn Miss Maggie around, so it gets hit by some Stealth Rock, but it's obviously able to live it, and then Earthquake is not going to be able to affect it because freaking levitates, and I am actually Choice Banded into that, so I do have to switch, and I'm just going to bring right back in Skittle, pretty much just to die at this point. I am really not worried about this thing setting up because I do have my Heliolisk, which is faster. I do take the Dazzling Gleam there, but then it's just able to finish me off with a Power Gem, so Xatu kind of just came in to die at this point. Sorry, Skittles, but had to do it to you, buddy. The good news is, though, now I can just bring in my Heliolisk, and my plan is actually just to go for a Volt Switch. I know that it's obviously going to kill the Miss Maggie, and then I can bring in my Bravery, who he's going to be forced to eventually bring in Incineroar to get an Intimidate on me. Although with the Defiant, it's actually going to give me an attack boost. So I Volt Switch there on the empty battlefield. Now I can bring in my Bravery. And he does only have 2 Pokemon left with the Incineroar and the Garbodor. So I'm over here eating some leftovers, looking pretty solid. He does bring in the Incineroar here. I'm guessing he probably forgot about Defiant, but he is going to intimidate me. And America's not scared of shit. So I actually end up boosting my attack 2 stages, which is nice. And now I can easily finish this thing off with a Brave Bird. But he does have a Fake Out, so last little ditch effort there, he does get a flinch. Although it pretty much just does leftover damage, which is not too big of a deal. So now I can just click Brave Bird because I am faster, and that is going to be a dead pussy. So it's always great to see Incineroars go down. They are kind of the king of NU at this point, and they're just freaking all over the place, and they always seem to just do great against my team. So that thing goes down, and now his last Pokemon is a literal trash bag. So in comes Danny DeVito. And I can just go ahead and click Brave Bird here, which is my only actual attacking move on this Bravery. It does have a hard time against teams that have Steel types, but if you can make this thing work, it's pretty damn useful. So that is going to kill that thing. I do get some aftermath, but that's fine. And that is going to be the end of the match there. So I thought that was a pretty good one. Having some fun in NU, as always. And thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed. And don't forget to subscribe for some more Wi-Fi battles. Peace out, guys.